In a quiet suburban neighborhood, life had a rhythm of its own. Children played in the yards, and families took leisurely strolls, enjoying the warmth of the community. But one particular house had become somewhat of a mystery to its neighbors. It belonged to the Parkers, whose young son Ethan was often seen in his wheelchair, smiling but distant, as if he was waiting for something that never came. Ethan had been in a wheelchair since he was 3 years old. After a tragic car accident left him paralyzed from the waist down. His parents, Sarah and Michael, had dedicated their lives to making sure he never felt left out or unloved. They would often take him to the park, encouraging him to interact with the other children. But Ethan, though cheerful, had always remained a little reserved, as if something was missing from his life. One sunny afternoon, the Parkers decided to take Ethan to the park as usual. As they pushed his wheelchair along the familiar path, they noticed a stray dog in the distance. The dog, a medium-sized mix with golden fur and deep brown eyes, seemed unusually focused on them. It stood still, watching intently as they approached. As the family got closer, the dog's demeanor suddenly changed. It started barking loudly, moving closer and closer to Ethan's wheelchair. Its barks were sharp, urgent, and unwavering. Sarah and Michael's hearts raced. They feared the dog might attack Ethan. Sarah moved to stand between the dog and her son, trying to calm the dog while Michael looked around for help. But the dog was not aggressive. It wasn't showing its teeth or lowering itself to pounce. Instead, it barked rhythmically, as if trying to communicate something deeply important. Ethan, who had been quiet up to this point, looked at the dog with wide eyes. He felt something he couldn't quite understand, a strange familiarity, a connection that seemed impossible. Then it happened. Ethan spoke softly at first. "Ethan, Mom, Dad, I think he knows me." Sarah and Michael exchanged confused glances. How could a stray dog know Ethan? They had never owned a dog, and Ethan had never shown a particular interest in animals, yet something in his voice made them pause. Michael decided to cautiously approach the dog. As he got closer, the dog's barks softened, turning into whimpers. It sat down and looked up at Michael with pleading eyes. He knelt and extended his hand slowly. The dog didn't flinch. Instead, it gently licked his hand and then turned its gaze back to Ethan, wagging its tail with restrained enthusiasm. The Parkers were bewildered. What was it about their son that had triggered such a strong reaction in this dog? As the situation de-escalated, Sarah noticed a small tag on the dog's collar. It was old and worn, but still legible. She carefully read it. "Sarah. Buddy, if found, call 555-6789. Curious and needing answers, Sarah quickly dialed the number. A soft-spoken elderly woman answered. Elderly woman. "Hello, Sarah. Hi, I'm calling about a dog named Buddy. He seems to know my son." There was a long pause on the other end, followed by a shaky breath. Elderly woman. "Buddy was my grandson's dog. He was very close to him before the accident." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. "Sarah, your grandson?" Elderly woman. "Yes. He was also named Ethan." Michael and Sarah looked at each other in disbelief. The pieces were beginning to fit together in the most unexpected way. The woman explained that her grandson, Ethan, had been in an accident years ago. After his passing, Buddy had run away, seemingly unable to cope with the loss. For years he had been astray, wandering the town, looking for something or someone. Ethan, sitting in his wheelchair, called out softly, "Ethan, Buddy?" The dog perked up and immediately ran to him, placing its head gently on Ethan's lap. It was as if he had finally found what he had been searching for all those years. Ethan's hands moved instinctively to pet Buddy, and for the first time in a long time he laughed, a genuine, joyous laugh. Sarah, with tears in her eyes, spoke into the phone. "Sarah, I think Buddy has found where he belongs." The elderly woman sobbed softly. "Elderly woman, he must see something in your Ethan, a connection to my grandson." From that day forward, Buddy became an inseparable part of the Parker family. Ethan's life changed in ways they could never have imagined. He became more outgoing, more confident. Buddy had not just found Ethan, he had brought a piece of healing to a boy who needed it most. The reason behind Buddy's barks was heartbreaking, but it led to a beautiful friendship that would change Ethan's life forever.